Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing really well. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make these really cute and easy crochet bookmarks, including a cute cottage, strawberry and teddy bear. So let's get into the tutorial. So for today's project I'm going to be using a 2.5mm hook, some scissors, a sewing needle, a stitch marker. So for the strawberry bookmark I'm going to be using this baby pink double knit acrylic yarn, and I've got like 100 grams of this, but you would only need like a scrap piece, so even something like this size is completely fine. It's just that I have a lot of this colour. You're also going to need white double knit yarn and some green double knit yarn and some yellow double knit yarn. And then for the teddy bear bookmark you're going to need some sort of medium brown colour. This is how much I have, so literally just a scrap piece, and this is probably enough for all of your colours, by the way, so if you've only got scrap colours, this amount for each colour is perfectly fine. And then I have this sandy brown colour for the bear's facial features, and then I have a dark brown double knit for the bear's eyes and nose. And then I'm also going to be using cream for the kind of long string part of the bookmark. And then for the bow ribbons I'm going to be using the same baby pink colour as the strawberry. And then for the cottage bookmark I'm going to be using cream double knit yarn for the main cottage house part. And then I'm going to be using a dark brown for the roof and the windows. And then I'm going to be using pink and green for the kind of flower bush section on the windowsill. And then I'm going to be using this same sandy brown colour that I used for the teddy bear for the door. And then finally I'm going to be using this deep olive khaki green type of colour, and this is going to be for the main like stem part of the bookmark. Okay, so I'm going to be starting off with the strawberry bookmark, and we're going to be starting off with the actual strawberry fruit. So you're going to want to take your baby pink yarn and then your hook, and you're going to want to start off with a slip knot like that, and then you're going to want to make a chain of 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 like that. And then you're going to want to slip stitch into the 4th chain from the hook. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's this 4th chain. Make a slip stitch, so insert your hook, yarn over and pull through the first loop, and then pull the first loop through the second, like that. Okay, and then this should give you kind of a small ring, and when you spread apart the ring you can see that small hole in the middle, and that's what we're going to be crocheting into. So we're going to start off by making a chain 1 like that, and then we're going to make a half double crochet into the ring. So we're actually going to insert the hook into the middle of that ring there. So I'm going to start off with my half double crochet, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the ring, yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like that. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the ring, yarn over and pull through, and now I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops like that, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops like that. And then we're going to do 1 more double crochet, so same, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 like that. You want to make sure when you're making your stitches that you're also crocheting over this tail once you kind of make your way around the ring, because this is going to help with the drawstring. We're then going to make 2 half double crochets, so yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then the same again, another half double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook into the ring, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops like that. Then we're going to make 1 double crochet, so yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, so now we have done 1 half of the strawberry, so you should have a half double crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 half double crochets and a double crochet. So now we're going to chain 1, because this is going to be the bottom of the strawberry, and we're going to do exactly what we just did but in reverse. So we're going to start off with a double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 half double crochets. That's 1, and that's 2, and then I'm going to make 2 double crochets. That's 1, and that's 2, and then I'm going to make 1 half double crochet, and then I'm going to finish the strawberry with a single crochet into the ring. So insert my hook, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, like that. So you should have something like this, and because you crocheted over the tail, you're going to want to pull on the tail to draw that hole closed. So you should have, the ring should close like that. Then I'm just going to simply cut the pink yarn like that and pull through. And then once you are happy with how tight the hole has drawn closed, you can cut the small piece of yarn at the back. And then you can just weave in the tail with your hook to the back of the work. So now we're going to work on the strawberry leaf. So you want to grab your green yarn and make a slip knot. And then you're going to want to flip your strawberry to the back. And if you're right-handed, you want to start on the right-hand side of the top of the strawberry. Because I'm left-handed, I'm going to be starting at the top left. So I'm going to insert my hook into that kind of top V-stitch on the left side. If you're right-handed, it's going to be this V-stitch right there. So insert your hook. Remember, we're working on the back of the strawberry. And then you want to pull the slip knot that you've just made through that stitch, like that. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make a slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Make a slip stitch, and then a slip stitch into that third chain as well. Okay, so once you've done your first leaf, we're going to now slip stitch kind of into the top center of the strawberry. So you just kind of want to find that middle V-stitch. It's like quite a small one. Just insert your hook into it, like that, and make a slip stitch through that stitch. And then you want to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And then you want to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch into the third chain from the hook, like that. And then you want to find the next V-stitch on the strawberry and slip stitch into that next V-stitch. So slip stitch, and then you want to chain 3 one more time. 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and slip stitch into the third chain. Okay, and this time we're going to slip stitch into that exact same pink stitch that we slip stitch into before. And then you're just going to want to cut a long string from your green yarn, and then you can just pull the green yarn through. So this is what your strawberry should be looking like, and you want to flip it now back to the front, and then take your sewing needle, and then you want to sew each leaf, so fold them down and sew each leaf to kind of the top of the strawberry. I don't really have much of a method for this, as long as you just kind of make sure that they're in this sort of arrangement where it's kind of fanning out. So I'd simply just kind of push my needle from the back of the work to the front of that first leaf, and then pull through. And then to make sure that the leaf is in the right position, I would then kind of go down to another part of the leaf right at the bottom, and then actually make sure it's sewn to the strawberry kind of body. So you want to push the needle through the leaf and the strawberry and kind of make sure that it's fixed down where you want it on the strawberry, like that. And then just pull through. See how it's now sewn down? So I'm going to do that for every single leaf all the way across, kind of just going backwards and forwards until the leaves are secure. So once you have sewn all of the leaves down, you can kind of just weave the tail to the back of the work and just kind of sew it through a few areas in different directions to make sure that it's secure. Okay, so once you have weaved in all of your ends, you want to take a long string from your yellow yarn. So I've just cut a long piece and I've placed it on the sewing needle, and I'm just going to sew some strawberry seeds. Now I'm just kind of doing it in an upwards direction because I think this looks best, but you can do it in any direction you want. So I basically just ensure that all of the seeds are kind of like vertical lines going up. So I just start from anywhere on the strawberry and I pull through. Obviously making sure I leave kind of a little tail at the back so that I'm just hold it there with my finger as well, and then I go straight down to kind of another section on the strawberry and then pull through. And that's pretty much it. I just kind of do that all over. So now I'm just kind of going into another part of the back of the strawberry and pulling through, and then I'm going down to kind of another section like that and then pulling through. So I'm just kind of doing that all over the strawberry, and then I would just weave in the ends on the back of the work. Okay, so this is now what the strawberry is looking like, and now I'm just going to set this aside and I'm going to grab my white yarn because we're now going to be making the kind of bookmark stem long string part. So I'm taking my white yarn and making a slip knot, and then you want to grab your hook and the strawberry, and you're going to flip the strawberry upside down. And you're just going to grab kind of that space slash the V-stitch right at the bottom, so that pointed kind of V-stitch. You want to actually push your hook through those loops, not just the kind of chain space. It can be a bit tight, but there, like that. And then just pull the white slip knot through. Okay. Now I'm going to be making a chain of 48. You can make your chain longer if you want to, or shorter, but I'm going to be making a chain of 48. This is a pretty good length for a standard paperback size book. So I'm just going to chain 48. Okay, so once you have your 48 chains, you're just going to want to place your hook down, and you're going to pick up your green yarn and make a slip knot. So you're not cutting it, you're not taking the hook off of the chain, you're just making a slip knot with the green yarn, and then we're going to be attaching this to our kind of 48th chain. So I've done my 48 chains, and now I'm just going to place the green slip knot, and I'm pulling the green slip knot through the white slip knot. And this is kind of going to start our leaf chain. So I'm just putting that through like that, and you can just drop the white yarn now, you don't need it, and we're just going to be chaining the green leaf. So for the green leaf I'm going to be chaining 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we are going to be working into each chain to make the leaf. So for the first stitch, we're going to make a slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. So I'm going to insert my hook into that second chain, make a slip stitch, and then into the next stitch I'm going to make a single crochet, and then into the next stitch I'll make a half double crochet, and then into the next stitch I'll make a double crochet, and then into the next stitch I will make a half double crochet, into the next stitch I will make a single crochet, and then into the final green chain we will be making a slip stitch. So now we've done the leaf, I'm now going to be slip stitching up this chain. So I'm going to be dropping the green yarn and I'm going to pick up the white yarn. I'm going to be kind of flipping the chain to the back, and you'll see that they have these back bumps. So I'm going to be slip stitching into that first white back bump, and I'm going to be doing it with the white yarn. So I'm kind of flipping the chain over, I'm grabbing that white back bump, and I'm going to make a slip stitch with the white yarn. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through both loops with the white yarn like that, and then you can just pull on the green yarn to kind of fasten it. And now I'm just going to be making slip stitches into each back bump all the way up the chain. So literally just making slip stitches through all of those back bumps. Okay, so I'm just about to do my very last slip stitch into that last back bump. And then once you have done all of your slip stitches, you want to insert your hook into that exact same spot where we attached the slip knot. So right through that V stitch, that pink V stitch, and then you want to make your slip stitch through that stitch as well, like that. And then you just want to chain one and fasten off, so just cut the yarn, make sure that it's long enough to kind of weave in, and then just pull the white yarn through, and then you just want to weave in all of these ends. Now you can cut the green yarn as well in the same way, and then you can just weave in all of these ends into the back of the work. Obviously for the green ends I will be weaving it into the leaf, and then for the white ends I'm kind of going to just weave it into the back of the strawberry. So this is what the strawberry bookmark looks like, and now we're going to be moving on to the bear bookmark. So I'm going to be starting off with my medium brown colour, and I'm just going to be making a slip knot. And then I'm going to be making a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to make a slip stitch into the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch into that chain, and that will form a ring. So I'm going to be making 8 single crochets into the ring. So I'm just going to insert my hook, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm just going to be doing 8 of those, and make sure that you are crocheting over the tail. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull on the tail to close the ring. I'm going to place my stitch marker into that 8th single crochet that I made. And that is the end of round 1. So for round 2 I'm going to be making 3 single crochets, 1 into the next 3 stitches, and then into the 4th stitch I'm going to make 2 half double crochets, and then I'm going to repeat that sequence again. So I'm going to start off with my 3 single crochets. So I'm just going into my next single crochet in the circle, make my single crochet. That's 1, and then into the next 2, and 1 more into the next, and 3. And then into the 4th I'm going to be making 2 half double crochets. That's 1, and that's 2. And then as you're working around you can pull on the tail and the hole should close. I'm going to repeat that sequence again, so I'm going to do 3 single crochets. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. And then into the 4th stitch, which is where the stitch marker is, I'm going to take the stitch marker out and I'm going to do 2 half double crochets into that last stitch. 1, and that's 2. Then I'm just going to replace the stitch marker back into that last stitch, and that is the end of round 2. So for round 3 I'm now going to be making 4 single crochets, and then into the 5th stitch I'm going to make 2 half double crochets. So I'm starting with my first 4 single crochets, 1 in each stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then into the 5th stitch 2 half double crochets. So that's 1 and that's 2, and then repeating that again, 4 single crochets, and then into the 5th stitch 2 half double crochets. And then I'm going to start my next round, so I'm just going to make a chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So I'm going into my next stitch with a single crochet, I'm single crocheting into each stitch all the way around, so there's no increases, just 1 single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and then once you've reached the end of the round, you're just going to skip that chain 1 and you're going to make a slip stitch into that first single crochet to kind of join everything together. And then I'm just going to place my stitch marker back into where that slip stitch is that I just done. And now we're kind of going to be continuing on, but we are now doing the ears because the face is all done. So I'm going to be making a single crochet into my next stitch, like that, and then I'm going to be making 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1 and that's 2, and then I'm going to make a half double crochet into the same stitch as well. So that's a single crochet, 2 double crochets, and then a half double crochet into that same stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch, like that. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the following stitch to start my next ear, so it's a slip stitch, and then I'm going to make 2 double crochets into that same stitch, and then I'm going to make my half double crochet into that same stitch as well. So you'll have a slip stitch, 2 double crochets and 1 half double crochet, and then you're going to want to slip stitch into the next stitch to finish that off. And then you're just going to want to chain 1 and fasten off, and then pull that tail through. Okay, so I've just weaved the tail onto the back of the work, and now I'm going to show you how to do the face details. So I'm grabbing my sand colour and I've just cut a long string of it, and then you want to take your sewing needle and place it onto the needle. And I'm basically going to do an embroidery style way of doing the face details. I didn't really have a plan when I initially done this, and I kind of just winged it, so that's all I can really recommend. But basically I'm just kind of like colouring in where the ears are, and then also like in kind of a oval shape around the circle centre for the muzzle. So as you can see, I've kind of like done an outline, and then I just filled it in by going back and forth. So I'm going to do the exact same thing for this ear. So I'm just going to go from the back to the front of the bottom of the ear and pull through, and I'm going to leave a little bit at the back, and I'm just going to hold it with my finger, and then I'm going to go across, and again I'm just mapping out basically the outline of the ear, and then I'm going up to kind of this stitch here and pulling through, and then I'm just going to go back down. And it's basically like a back stitch, so you're working, rather than kind of working in like a running stitch, you're actually joining the lines together. So now I would kind of go from the back to the front of the next space that I see and pull through, and then I'm going to go back to my initial stitch before that to join the line together. You basically just want to join the lines together, there's not really much technique to it, and then I'm just kind of going into the next stitch ahead of that stitch I just completed, and then I'm bringing the yarn back to connect it. So I'm just kind of doing that all the way around. So now I have something like this, and now I'm just basically going to fill in that space by just going back and forth. Okay, so this is what it looks like when I've filled it in, and then I'm literally just going to drag the yarn to the other side and do the exact same thing for this ear, and then I'm kind of going to do the same thing for the muzzle. I'm just going to kind of map out a oval shaped circle in the middle and then fill it in by going back and forth. Okay, so I've just completed all of the facial features, and now I'm just going to do the eyes and the nose. So I've got a long string of the dark brown yarn on my needle. I just cut a long string, and then I'm going to be making the eyes. So basically for the eyes, I just kind of bring the needle from the back to the front, and then I kind of bring it down at an angle, sort of not a real plan, but I just kind of do it between the ears and the muzzle, so about here, and then I just pull through like that, and then just hold it with my finger, and then I just bring it down to kind of a similar area, kind of at an angle. Just push my needle through. It can be a bit tough with all the yarn, and pull the needle through like that. And if you want to make the eyes thicker, you can do it one more time, so going from the same spot, from the back to the front, pull through, and then back down, pull through, and then you can just repeat that kind of on the other side. Okay, so that's what the eyes look like, and now I'm going to show you how to do the nose detail. So you're going to want to make kind of like a T shape with the yarn, and then you're going to connect kind of two diagonal lines at the bottom of the T. So you kind of have something like this, and that is the face details all done, and then I'm just going to weave the ends into the back. So once you've weaved in all of the ends, you're going to want to take your cream colour yarn and make a slip knot, and we're now going to be doing the kind of stem part of the bookmark. You want to flip the bear head upside down, and you're going to push your hook through that bottom centre brown stitch like that, and then you want to pull your slip knot through like that. And then again, you're going to want to make a chain of 48. So once you have done your chain of 48, you just want to flip the chain upside down and again work into the back bumps, making slip stitches into each. So I'm going into that second chain from the hook, and I'm finding that second back bump, and I'm making my slip stitch as normal. So you just want to slip stitch all the way up into each back bump. So just like we did for the strawberry bookmark. So once you have done all of your slip stitches, you're going to want to slip stitch into the exact same brown stitch where you attached the slip knot. So I'm just going to insert my hook and make my last slip stitch like that, and then I'm just going to chain one and fasten off. And then just like I did for the strawberry, I'm going to weave in these ends into the back of the bear, and then I'm going to show you how to do the ribbons. Okay, so once you have weaved in all of the ends, you're going to want to flip the bear onto the front, and we're going to basically just be cutting small strings of the pink yarn, but long enough that you can tie a bow. I'm going to kind of start just a few stitches down from the top, and I'm kind of pushing my hook through the kind of front two loops that we did for the slip stitch right here. So I'm inserting my hook, and then I'm going to pull the cut string that I just cut through that loop. Just pulling that through like that. So you want to pull it through so that you have the strands on either side, and then you simply just want to tie a bow in this area. So it's something like that. And you just want to make as many of these as you want and kind of space them out equally all the way down. I'm probably going to make about 6 or 7 of these, but yeah, make as many as you want, and then you have completed the bear bookmark. Okay, so I'm now going to be working on the cottage. So I'm going to start off with my cream yarn, and we're going to make the square part of the cottage. So I'm going to start off with a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 11. And then I'm going to be flipping the chain over like this, and I'm going to make a single crochet into the second back bump from the hook. Make my single crochet, and then I'm going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across, so you should have 10 single crochets in total. Have finished your first row, you're going to turn the work, and this is going to be row 2, and we're going to be making 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across. And I'm going to loop this end in as I go to weave it in, or you can weave it in later. So I'm just looping it over the top of the hook, and then I'm going to continue my single crochet into the first stitch as normal. Like that. I'm going to single crochet all the way across, so 1 in each stitch, and I'm going to do that until I have 8 rows in total. So from row 2 to 8, I'm going to just do 1 single crochet into each stitch. Remember, at the beginning of every single row, you want to turn the work. Okay, so this is what it should be looking like once you have done your 8 rows of single crochet, and you're going to want to now chain 1 and fasten off. Just leave a tail long enough to weave in later. Now you want to grab your dark brown yarn, and you're going to make a slip knot. And we're going to be attaching the slip knot at the side on this edge rather than on that first single crochet stitch. So I'm just going to kind of grab a loop on the top but at the side of the panel, and then I'm going to pull the slip knot through like that, and then just chain 1 to attach it. And now I'm going to go into the first stitch of the row, and I'm just going to be making a slip stitch into that V like that. And then I'm going into each stitch all the way across and making slip stitches, and I prefer to do these a little bit loose so that they are easier to crochet into for the next row. So I'm kind of just using a loose tension for these, but yeah, I'm slip stitching into each stitch all the way across. That's 10 slip stitches. Okay, so for row 10 I'm going to turn the work, and I'm just going to be making 1 single crochet into each stitch. So you might have to kind of tuck the tail back a bit to kind of push your hook through that first stitch, and you're only going through the dark brown stitches, and I'm just going to push my hook through that first V, and I'm going to make a single crochet into each stitch. It can be a bit tight, but just take your time. Okay, and then I'm just making my single crochet, and then I'm going into my next stitch, single crochet, to the next stitch, single crochet, and just continuing that all the way across. Okay, you want to ignore the chain 1 that we made at the beginning, so that stitch on the side, you want to ignore that one. And then for row 11 you're going to turn the work, and we're going to skip the first stitch, and we're going to make a single crochet into the second stitch. And then we are going to single crochet across until we have 2 stitches left. So just 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'm stopping before the second to last stitch. So now I have 2 stitches left in my row. I'm going to skip the next stitch and I'm going to slip stitch into that very last stitch rather than a single crochet. To slip stitch. Okay, and then we are just going to chain 1 and fasten off. Like that. And now I'm just going to weave all of these ends into the back of the work. So now I'm going to show you how to make the door. So you're going to want to take your sandy light brown colour and you're going to want to make a slip knot. And then you want to make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to make 1 single crochet into the second back bump. And then 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So you'll have 3 single crochets in total. Okay, and then you're going to want to turn the work and we're going to just make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across. So I'm just going to weave this end in as I go. So this is row 2, just making 1 single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the exact same thing for row 3 and row 4. I'm just going to turn the work and make 1 single crochet into each stitch. Okay, and then for row 5 you're going to want to turn the work and you want to make a single crochet into the first stitch and then a half double crochet into the second stitch, and then you want to make a slip stitch into the third stitch, like that. And I'm just going to trim this short end off because we don't need that anymore, it's all weaved in. And I'm going to continue from this point and I'm just going to slip stitch around the border so that the edges are nice and neat and it's easy to sew into. So I'm just kind of tilting the work to the side, so rather than working now at the top I'm just going to tilt it to the side so that I can work across this edge, and I'm just going to slip stitch sort of into each space roughly all the way down the door. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the exact same thing across the bottom of the door. And then the same going up this side of the door. Okay, and then once you have slip stitched all the way back up, you're just going to want to cut a long string of the yarn and then just pull it out like that. And then I'm just going to basically sew a small dot with the dark brown yarn to create a doorknob. Okay, and then once you have completed the door, you're just going to want to sew the door to kind of the bottom front part of the cottage. With your sewing needle, just sew around the edge. Okay, so I've just sewn the door to the front of the cottage and now I'm just going to map out the windows with some dark brown yarn that I've just cut and I've put it on my sewing needle, and I essentially am just going to basically make a dotted line going across and then down and then across and then back up, kind of doing that back stitch, and then I kind of will fill the middle in with a cross so that it looks like a window. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so now I'm just going to sew the flower details on the windowsill. So I'm using the pale green yarn and the pink yarn, and I basically just do the similar technique here where I just do like these kind of connected dotted lines. So I do the green first and I basically just do a solid line going across in that same technique, and then I go over the top of it, kind of spacing out the pink to create the effect of like bushes with flowers or roses in. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to do that now, and then I'm going to show you how to do the stem. Okay, so I've just finished sewing all of the details on, and now it's time to complete the final step, which is the stem. So I'm taking this deep green yarn and I'm going to make a slip knot. And just like I have for all of the other bookmarks, I'm going to insert my hook into the bottom sort of middle stitch of the cottage, and I'm going to pull the slip knot through like that. And I'm going to be making a chain of 48, and then I'm going to add an extra 5 chains on because I want to make a leaf at the end. So in total that is 53 chains. Okay, so I've just done my 53 chains, and now I'm going to do the leaf part. So I'm working in the back bumps, and I'm starting off with a slip stitch into that second back bump from the hook. There, just make a slip stitch, and then into the next stitch I'm going to make a single crochet into that back bump, and then into the next stitch I'm going to make a half double crochet again into the back bump, and then a half double crochet into the next stitch, like that. And then I'm just going to start slip stitching all the way up the rest of the chain. Okay, so once you have done all of your slip stitches, you then just want to slip stitch into that cream stitch that we attached the yarn into. So make your final slip stitch, and then you just want to chain 1 and fasten off. And then you just want to weave in the ends to the back of the work, and this is what the final result of the cottage looks like. And this is what all of the cute bookmarks look like. I hope you all found this tutorial helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for my next video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.